Hello and welcome to the Evercade retreat. Gene Joke here, and today I'm adding Raimais to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Originally released into arcades in 1988, Raimais is a top-down maze game where you control a sci-fi vehicle called the Organizer and you battle your way through a series of mazes. Shocking that, yeah? There are of course power-ups to pick up, as well as some branching paths and some boss battles. If I was being reductive, I would call it a sci-fi Pac-Man, because essentially you run around the mazes collecting items, avoiding enemies or shooting them when you have a power-up. There's also a branching system where at the end of a level you can choose which path you'll take, which will take you to a different level or maze. The graphics are very stylized sci-fi. There's a very distinct look to it and it all looks nice enough, although I wouldn't say anything is particularly amazing here. It more than does the job and it's quite a good looking game. The synth soundtrack definitely has a suitably sci-fi synth vibe to it, which again suits the action. The gameplay, as I mentioned, it's a maze game where you're driving around these mazes, collecting items, getting the power ups, taking out the enemies, and the controls are tight and responsive enough, and there's a decent enough sense of speed and impact when you're shooting the enemies. The power ups such as speed boost, invincibility and weapons are all quite good as well, but it doesn't quite have the same level of draw and compulsion as something like Pac-Man, and I can't quite put my finger on why. But let's not say it's a bad game, it's not at all. It is a fun game, just not an amazing one, and I can see why it's a lesser known arcade game. And as I mentioned, it being a lesser known arcade game, it's safe to say I've no history with this game. I'd never heard of it before this cart was announced. Overall, it's a decent enough game that for me is lacking a little something. It's also quite challenging in the sense of getting good at it. Some of the mazes, while they don't seem possible to do, at least from my skill level anyway, but they don't seem possible to do without continuing. As a result, it feels like more of a game of credit feeding rather than a game of skill, and it's not quite compelling enough to really get good at. I mean, it's fine, it's not a bad game as I said, it's just lacking that certain component which really makes it compelling. To place on my overall ranking list, I would put it above Don Doko Don, but below Super Bubble Pop. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for this video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.